failure isn't the end, it's the beginning of something greater. In today's video, we're diving into the transformative power of failure and how you can turn setbacks into stepping stones for success. We've all faced moments where things didn't go as planned, where our efforts didn't yield the results we hoped for. But what if I told you that failure is actually one of the greatest teachers you'll ever encounter? In this video, we'll explore powerful strategies rooted in Stoic philosophy and real-life experiences to help you shift your mindset and embrace failure as a catalyst for growth. From embracing feedback and taking responsibility to cultivating resilience and learning from role models, we'll cover 10 essential ways to turn your failure into strength. No matter where you are in your journey, whether you're dealing with a career setback, a personal challenge, or any kind of failure, this video is here to show you that your strength lies not in avoiding failure, but in learning from it. Get ready to transform your perspective and come out stronger on the other side. Let's turn those failures into fuel for your success, starting right now. Number 1, embrace failure as feedback failure. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This idea has stayed with me, especially after a personal experience that forever changed my perspective on failure. A few years ago, I faced a significant setback at work when a project I led was deemed unsuccessful. It was a blow not only to my confidence, but also to my sense of purpose. For days, I grappled with feelings of inadequacy, questioning whether I was cut out for the role I held. But as I revisited Aurelius's wisdom, I began to understand that my reaction to the failure was within my control, even if the outcome of the project wasn't. I realized that failure was not the end, but an opportunity to learn. In the aftermath of the project, I took time to analyze what went wrong. The team had encountered communication breakdowns, unclear expectations, and a lack of contingency planning. These flaws were glaring in hindsight, but at the moment, they were overshadowed by the pressure to deliver results. Instead of dwelling on the embarrassment of having failed, I made a conscious decision to treat the experience as feedback. Every misstep became a teacher, and I started documenting areas where I could improve, not just technically, but also in leadership and adaptability. The process of dissecting my failure was humbling. It forced me to confront my own limitations without letting them define me. As Epictetus advised, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. I began applying this philosophy daily, reminding myself that setbacks were temporary and full of potential lessons. One of the key takeaways was understanding the importance of preparation. Moving forward, I prioritized meticulous planning, effective delegation, and fostering open communication within the team. What had initially seemed like an irreparable failure became a turning point that shaped my professional ethos. There was also a profound personal transformation. Learning to embrace failure helped me see it as an inevitable part of growth rather than a reflection of my worth. I stopped associating mistakes with shame and started viewing them as necessary steps on the path to mastery. Seneca's words, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body," resonated deeply. They reminded me that the struggle was forging resilience. Each lesson I extracted from failure made me more equipped to face challenges, not just in my career but in life as a whole. Reflecting on this journey, I recognize how much stronger I've become because of that failure. The sting of defeat gave way to the clarity of self-awareness, and with each lesson learned, I grew more confident in my abilities. While failure is uncomfortable, it is also a gift that forces you to reassess, adapt, and strive for better. The Stoic perspective teaches us that we cannot avoid failure, but we can transform it into a powerful catalyst for strength and personal growth. Number 2, take responsibility. "You must blame your own will," said Epictetus, "if your desires are disappointed and your aversions are made your own." This Stoic principle became a cornerstone of my life after an incident in college that fundamentally shifted my understanding of responsibility. I was working on a group project that went disastrously wrong. We missed the deadline, the quality was subpar, and I found myself pointing fingers at my teammates for their lack of effort. Yet, deep down, I knew I had failed to lead, communicate, and manage the group effectively. That realization marked the beginning of a new chapter in my relationship with accountability. At first, it was easier to shift blame than to reflect on my own role. But as I examined the situation more closely, I couldn't ignore the ways I had contributed to the failure. I hadn't set clear goals or expectations for the team, nor had I stepped up when conflicts arose. The discomfort of acknowledging my shortcomings was overwhelming, but it also became a source of liberation. Taking responsibility allowed me to stop focusing on external factors and start addressing the one thing I could change: myself. In doing so, I found the courage to apologize to my team and commit to improving. Accepting responsibility didn't just improve my performance, it altered how I approached challenges entirely. The more I held myself accountable, the more control I felt over outcomes. Instead of lamenting circumstances, I began asking myself what I could have done differently and what I could do better next time. This shift empowered me to approach problems proactively rather than reactively. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Taking responsibility became less about admitting failure and more about reclaiming that power. The practice of owning my actions also strengthened my relationships. People began to trust me more, knowing I wouldn't shy away from accountability. I learned to listen openly when criticized, seeing feedback as an opportunity for growth rather than an attack. Taking responsibility wasn't just a personal discipline, it became a way of demonstrating integrity and respect toward others. This mindset rippled into every area of my life, from work to personal connections, making me a more dependable and authentic person. Over time, I've come to see responsibility not as a burden, but as a path to freedom. Each mistake I own becomes a stepping stone toward growth, and every success feels more genuine because it stems from efforts I fully committed to. The Stoic teaching that we must look inward for solutions and strength resonates deeply in this practice. It's not about being perfect. It's about being accountable, learning continuously, and taking charge of the narrative of your life. In embracing this, I found a profound sense of empowerment and clarity that continues to guide me. Number 3. Shift perspective. Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them, Epictetus once said, encapsulating the transformative power of perspective. This truth became profoundly clear to me during a difficult period in my career, when I was unexpectedly passed over for a promotion I had worked tirelessly for. Initially, I saw it as a sign of failure, questioning my abilities and worth. I was frustrated and bitter, allowing the disappointment to cloud my judgment and sap my motivation. Yet through reflection and the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, I began to realize the situation wasn't inherently negative. It was my perception that made it so. I decided to challenge my initial response by examining the circumstances objectively. Had I truly failed, or was this simply an opportunity to improve? This shift in perspective brought clarity. Instead of focusing on what I didn't achieve, I started analyzing why I didn't achieve it. I identified gaps in my skills and areas where I could grow. This wasn't a rejection of my worth, but a redirection, a chance to become better prepared for future opportunities. By reframing the situation, I transformed what felt like a setback into a stepping stone toward progress. This mindset didn't come naturally at first. It required deliberate effort to reframe negative experiences as neutral or even positive. I began practicing gratitude for the lessons embedded in challenges and adversity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." I stopped seeing the missed promotion as harm inflicted on me and started viewing it as a reminder to keep refining my craft. With this perspective, my energy shifted from self-pity to purposeful action. The power of shifting perspective extends beyond professional challenges. I've applied this principle to personal struggles as well. When faced with a broken relationship, I initially felt consumed by loss. But stepping back and examining the situation through a Stoic lens, I realized it was an opportunity to redefine what I wanted and needed in life. What I had seen as an ending was in fact a new beginning. By choosing to focus on the growth and freedom the situation offered, I found peace and direction where I once saw chaos. This practice of shifting perspective has become an anchor in my life. It reminds me that while I can't control external events, I can always control how I interpret and respond to them. Adversity no longer feels insurmountable when viewed as a teacher, and failure loses its sting when seen as an integral part of growth. The wisdom of the Stoics has taught me that by changing how I see the world, I can change how I experience it. This simple yet profound truth continues to shape how I approach every challenge, disappointment, and triumph. Number 4. Focus on what you can control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This wisdom came alive for me during a particularly challenging time when I was overwhelmed by external pressures. I had been managing a large team on a critical project, and despite my best efforts, factors beyond my control, such as vendor delays and changing client demands, threatened the project's success. Initially, I found myself paralyzed with frustration, fixating on circumstances I couldn't change. But through the lens of Stoicism, I began to focus solely on the elements within my power. I started by clarifying what I could influence: my communication with the team, the precision of our internal processes, and the strategies we employed to mitigate risks. By shifting my energy toward these areas, I was able to identify creative solutions. For instance, I worked closely with my team to establish a contingency plan that reduced reliance on external vendors. This proactive approach not only kept us on track, but also restored a sense of control amidst the chaos. The external challenges persisted, but my reaction to them became more composed and productive. This experience reinforced the profound difference between worry and action. Worry, as I learned, is wasted energy when directed toward the uncontrollable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Internalizing this truth allowed me to break free from the anxiety that often accompanies uncertainty. Instead of lamenting what might go wrong, I began asking myself, what can I do right now to make a difference? This shift not only improved the outcomes of that project, but also transformed how I approach challenges in general. Focusing on what I can control also deepened my resilience. In another instance, I faced a health scare that left me feeling powerless. While I couldn't change the diagnosis, I could control how I responded. By following medical advice, maintaining a positive mindset, and focusing on recovery. The more I concentrated on these actionable steps, the less overwhelmed I felt. I realized that surrendering to what I couldn't change wasn't defeat. It was acceptance, which freed me to act decisively where I could. Today, this principle remains a cornerstone of my life. Whether in relationships, career, or personal challenges, I constantly remind myself that my energy is best spent on what lies within my control. It's not always easy, especially when faced with uncertainty or adversity, but Stoicism offers a roadmap. Focus inward, act where you can, and let go of the rest. This mindset has brought me clarity, peace, and the strength to navigate life's complexities with confidence. Number 5. Cultivate resilience. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. These powerful words by Marcus Aurelius encapsulate the essence of resilience, a trait that has shaped how I navigate life's trials. One of the most defining moments in my journey occurred when I lost a business venture I had poured years of effort into. The loss felt catastrophic, as it not only impacted my financial stability, but also my sense of self-worth. Yet, in the aftermath of that failure, I discovered an inner strength I never knew I had, the ability to rise, rebuild, and adapt. At first, the weight of the failure was crushing. I replayed every mistake, feeling trapped in a cycle of regret. But as I reflected on Stoic teachings, I realized the futility of dwelling on the past. Resilience, I learned, is not about avoiding setbacks, but about how we respond to them. Instead of seeing the failure as an end, I began viewing it as a beginning, a chance to reassess, learn, and grow. This shift in perspective wasn't instant, but with time, I began taking small, deliberate steps toward rebuilding. Each step, no matter how minor, reinforced my capacity to endure. Resilience doesn't mean being impervious to pain. It means finding strength within it. There were days when I felt defeated, but I discovered the importance of consistency over perfection. I drew inspiration from the Stoics' belief in focusing on the present moment, reminding myself that progress happens one day at a time. When Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events," he emphasized that resilience is rooted in our mindset. By controlling how I viewed my situation, I found the courage to persevere, even when the odds seemed stacked against me. Building resilience also taught me the value of adaptability. When my initial efforts to recover didn't yield immediate results, I explored new paths, taking risks I might not have considered before. This flexibility became a cornerstone of my resilience, allowing me to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. I learned to embrace uncertainty, recognizing that every obstacle presented an opportunity to develop new skills, gain fresh insights, and discover untapped potential. What once felt like a devastating loss evolved into a transformative experience that reshaped my approach to both work and life. Today, resilience remains my guiding principle. It has enabled me to face difficulties with a sense of purpose and optimism, knowing that adversity is not a barrier, but a catalyst for growth. The Stoic teaching that what stands in the way becomes the way reminds me that challenges are not detours, they are the path itself. Every setback, no matter how daunting, carries the seeds of strength, and every moment of perseverance brings us closer to becoming the best versions of ourselves. Through resilience, I've learned to find beauty in the struggle and power in the journey. Number 6. Learn from role models. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." This Stoic wisdom underscores the transformative power of learning from role models, a principle that has deeply influenced my approach to personal growth. I vividly remember a period when I felt stuck in my career, unsure of how to navigate the complexities of leadership and decision-making. It was during this time that I turned to a mentor who embodied the qualities I aspired to develop: calm under pressure, decisiveness, and an unwavering sense of purpose. Observing and learning from his example became a turning point in my journey. One of the most profound lessons I gleaned from my mentor was the art of maintaining composure during challenging situations. There was an instance where our team faced a sudden and critical setback. While many of us panicked, he remained calm, systematically analyzing the problem and proposing solutions. Watching his steady demeanor reminded me of the Stoic principle to keep your mind calm and your inner self clear. Inspired by his example, I began practicing mindfulness and reflection, developing my ability to stay grounded in the face of adversity. This shift not only enhanced my leadership skills, but also instilled a deeper sense of confidence. Role models also offer a practical demonstration of Stoic ideals. My mentor's commitment to discipline and integrity resonated with Epictetus's teaching. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. He didn't just speak about values, he lived them. Whether it was honoring his commitments, treating others with respect, or consistently delivering results, his actions spoke louder than any words. Observing his behavior challenged me to align my own actions with my principles, reinforcing the importance of authenticity and consistency in everything I do. The influence of role models extends beyond professional development. During a personal crisis, I found inspiration in historical figures like Marcus Aurelius. Reading his meditations, I was struck by his ability to balance the immense pressures of being an emperor with his commitment to virtue and self-improvement. His reflections reminded me that no matter how overwhelming life's demands may seem, there is always room to act with integrity, compassion, and wisdom. By studying his writings, I gained a renewed sense of purpose and the determination to face my challenges with courage. Learning from role models is not merely about imitation, but about integrating their strengths into your own unique path. Each person I've looked up to, whether a mentor, a historical figure, or even a close friend, has taught me invaluable lessons about resilience, leadership, and the pursuit of excellence. By observing their actions and reflecting on their teachings, I've been able to navigate my own journey with greater clarity and resolve. As Seneca advised, surrounding yourself with those who inspire you to grow is one of the most effective ways to turn life's challenges into opportunities for strength. Number 7. Reassess goals. The Stoics often emphasized clarity of purpose, with Seneca stating, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." This resonates deeply when it comes to reassessing goals, a practice I've learned to embrace as a crucial part of personal and professional growth. One of the most pivotal moments of my life came when I realized that the goals I had been relentlessly pursuing no longer aligned with my values. That realization wasn't immediate. It unfolded through moments of frustration and reflection, forcing me to confront the need to redefine my direction. For years, I had fixated on climbing the corporate ladder, believing it to be the ultimate measure of success. However, as I achieved each milestone, I felt a growing sense of emptiness rather than fulfillment. It was during a quiet moment of reflection, inspired by Marcus Aurelius's teaching to ask yourself at every moment, "Is this necessary?" that I began questioning whether my pursuits truly served my deeper purpose. This re-evaluation marked the start of a transformative journey in which I shifted my focus from external validation to personal fulfillment and meaningful contributions. Reassessing my goals required courage and honesty. I had to let go of the fear of judgment and the pressure to meet societal expectations. Instead of striving for titles and accolades, I started setting goals rooted in authenticity and alignment with my values. For example, I chose to dedicate more time to mentoring younger colleagues, finding immense satisfaction in helping others grow. This shift, though unconventional in a fast-paced corporate environment, brought me closer to the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with one's principles and nature. The process also highlighted the importance of adaptability. Goals, much like life itself, are not static. They evolve as we grow and learn, and reassessing them ensures they remain relevant to our current circumstances and aspirations. In one instance, I had set a goal to complete a challenging certification program. Midway through, I realized that the certification would not significantly enhance my career trajectory or align with my long-term interests. Initially, the idea of abandoning it felt like failure. But reflecting on Epictetus's wisdom, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," helped me see that realigning my efforts was not a defeat, but a strategic pivot. Reassessing goals also creates opportunities for renewal and reinvention. By shedding outdated ambitions, I discovered a renewed sense of energy and enthusiasm for pursuits that genuinely mattered to me. This shift allowed me to find deeper satisfaction in areas I had previously overlooked, such as creative endeavors and community engagement. The Stoic practice of regularly examining one's life became a guiding light, helping me navigate challenges with clarity and focus. Through this ongoing practice, I've learned that goals are not rigid endpoints, but dynamic guideposts that evolve alongside us. The courage to reassess and realign them has allowed me to find meaning, resilience, and strength in the face of uncertainty, turning setbacks into stepping stones for growth. Number 8. Practice gratitude. Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours. These words by Marcus Aurelius encapsulate the transformative power of gratitude. I've found that practicing gratitude, especially during moments of failure or hardship, can shift my perspective and uncover strength I didn't know I had. It's not about denying the challenges, but learning to focus on what remains amidst the chaos, a practice that has repeatedly lifted me from despair to clarity. A particularly difficult time in my life came when I lost a job I had worked hard to secure. Initially, I felt a sense of failure and fear for the future. But as I reflected on this loss, I began to focus on what I still had: supportive friends and family, good health, and the skills and experiences I had gained from my work. I remembered the Stoic practice of framing setbacks within the broader context of life. As I listed my blessings, I realized I had far more resources than I had acknowledged. Gratitude became a lens through which I could see opportunities instead of obstacles. The act of practicing gratitude also provided me with emotional resilience. Instead of dwelling on the disappointment of what was lost, I started a daily ritual of writing down 3 things I was grateful for. At first, it felt superficial, but over time, it became a grounding habit. I began noticing small joys, an encouraging conversation, a good book, or even the simple beauty of a quiet evening. These moments, though seemingly trivial, became pillars of strength that carried me through difficult days. As Seneca advised, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Gratitude also shifted my relationships. During tough times, I leaned on others for support and found immense comfort in their kindness. This made me appreciate the value of connection and inspired me to express my gratitude openly. I began reaching out to mentors, friends, and colleagues to thank them for their guidance and support. In doing so, I fostered stronger relationships and found unexpected sources of encouragement and insight. Expressing gratitude, I realized, not only uplifts the giver, but also strengthens bonds with those around us. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain or difficulty. It's about holding space for both challenge and appreciation. This duality was evident when I reflected on my job loss as an opportunity to realign my career with my passions. Instead of seeing failure as an endpoint, gratitude helped me see it as a redirection, a chance to pursue meaningful work that aligned with my values. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom taught me that gratitude turns the simplest of blessings into a foundation for growth, helping me find strength and clarity even in the face of adversity. Number 9. Build self-discipline. Epictetus once remarked, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This Stoic insight reveals the profound connection between self-discipline and freedom. In my own life, building self-discipline has been a continuous journey, one that has taught me resilience and enabled me to transform failures into stepping stones. Developing this trait hasn't always been easy, but the rewards have been invaluable, reinforcing my ability to navigate challenges with clarity and purpose. A turning point came during my early years of studying for professional certifications. The sheer volume of material was overwhelming, and distractions were plentiful. There were moments I wanted to quit, doubting my ability to meet the rigorous demands. However, inspired by the Stoic idea of focusing on what is within my control, I decided to prioritize daily discipline over fleeting motivation. I created a structured schedule, dedicating specific hours each day to studying. There were no shortcuts, only consistent effort. Over time, the results spoke for themselves. Not only did I pass my exams, but I also cultivated a work ethic that became a foundation for future success. Self-discipline also taught me the importance of delayed gratification. In a world that constantly tempts us with instant rewards, learning to prioritize long-term goals over short-term desires has been transformative. For example, when saving money for a personal project, I resisted the urge to spend impulsively. Each small sacrifice felt significant, and the eventual achievement was all the more satisfying because it reflected my commitment. This practice mirrored the Stoic belief in mastering desires to gain true autonomy and strength. There have also been times when self-discipline helped me overcome internal struggles. When dealing with setbacks, such as a failed project or personal disappointment, it was tempting to spiral into frustration or self-pity. Instead, I leaned on routines, writing, exercise, and reflection to ground myself. These habits, though simple, provided structure and steadiness when my emotions wavered. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This philosophy reminded me that self-discipline begins in the mind, a choice to act according to values rather than impulses. Another significant aspect of self-discipline is its cumulative nature. Each act of restraint or perseverance builds on the previous, creating momentum. I've observed this in small but impactful ways, like committing to a morning routine or completing daily tasks even when unmotivated. Over time, these consistent efforts reshaped my identity. I no longer saw discipline as restrictive, but as empowering, a tool that allowed me to align my actions with my aspirations and values. Through this journey, I've realized that self-discipline is less about rigid control and more about intentional living. It's a practice of aligning actions with purpose, focusing on what truly matters, and persevering despite challenges. The Stoics teach that mastery over the self is the foundation of a strong and resilient life, and my experiences affirm that this principle is both timeless and transformative. Number 10. Share your experience. As Seneca wisely said, "While we teach, we learn." This Stoic perspective on sharing knowledge and experience has been a pivotal lesson in my own growth. I've discovered that by sharing the lessons learned from failure, we not only help others avoid similar pitfalls, but also deepen our own understanding. Reflecting on my experiences and articulating them has become an integral part of my journey towards strength, reinforcing the notion that wisdom is best shared and expanded through connection. A key moment in my life that reinforced the importance of sharing experiences came after I encountered a professional setback. I had poured significant effort into a project that ultimately failed, leaving me feeling disheartened and uncertain about my future. However, as time passed, I began to realize that my failure contained valuable lessons. Instead of keeping these insights to myself, I decided to open up to my colleagues and share the challenges I faced, the mistakes I made, and the lessons I learned. To my surprise, many of them had faced similar struggles and appreciated my transparency. This exchange created a supportive environment where we collectively grew stronger by learning from each other's experiences. Sharing my experience also allowed me to develop a sense of accountability. When I opened up about my failures, I wasn't just offering advice. I was engaging in a dialogue that required introspection and humility. This practice of reflecting on and sharing what went wrong allowed me to be more honest with myself about my shortcomings, which ultimately led to growth. The act of sharing created a space for vulnerability and openness, where I could receive feedback and guidance from others who had their own perspectives. Through this, I became more adaptable and self-aware, recognizing that wisdom often comes from collective experience. The act of sharing also has a broader impact on communities and organizations. Over time, I began mentoring younger professionals, offering them the benefit of my experiences. I realized that by guiding others through their own challenges, I not only helped them navigate obstacles more effectively, but also reinforced my own learning. The Stoics emphasized the importance of virtue in community, and I found that teaching others, sharing my knowledge, and being there for them in their moments of struggle created a sense of purpose and fulfillment that bolstered my own resilience. Moreover, sharing experiences fosters empathy and connection. When we open ourselves up, others feel encouraged to do the same, creating a shared space of understanding and growth. I witnessed this in both personal and professional contexts, where individuals who shared their failures and triumphs with others were able to build deeper relationships and stronger networks. This collective wisdom not only provides emotional support, but also nurtures a culture of continuous learning, where failure is not seen as an end point, but as a valuable part of the journey towards strength and success. Ultimately, sharing my experiences has been one of the most powerful tools for turning failure into strength. It's through this process that I've learned to not only transform my own setbacks, but also help others do the same. The Stoic ideal of wisdom, when shared, becomes a powerful force that not only transforms individuals, but also uplifts entire communities, creating a legacy of strength, resilience, and mutual growth. Turning failure into strength is all about perspective and the actions you take after facing setbacks. Throughout this video, we've explored powerful ways to not only cope with failure, but to use it as a tool for growth and resilience. Remember, every failure carries with it an invaluable lesson, one that can push you closer to your goals when embraced with the right mindset. Now, it's your turn to put these strategies into action. Embrace feedback, take responsibility, focus on what you can control, and always keep moving forward. Transform each failure into a stepping stone toward becoming a stronger, wiser version of yourself. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more insightful content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What's a failure you've turned into strength? We'd love to hear your story. And if you know someone who could use a little inspiration to turn their setbacks into comebacks, be sure to share this video with them. Remember, failure doesn't define you, it refines you. Let's turn our failures into the fuel for our greatest successes.